After the highly successful Chandrayaan 3 mission, India and ISRO are preparing for the Gaganyaan mission, which is to send an Indian astronaut from Indian soil on an Indian rocket into space. One of the country's most expensive or single most expensive scientific experiments ever to be done, likely to cost over 9,000 crores. ISRO is very upbeat. The country is looking forward to it. We have the crew module and the rocket there, models of which would take an Indian astronaut into space. And I have with me Dr. Unnikrishnan Nair. He's an aerospace engineer, the director of the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center at Tiruvananthapuram, and the founder director for the Human Space Flight Center of ISRO. A lot rests on his shoulders for the Gaganyaan mission. Dr. Unnikrishnan Nair, why are we doing Gaganyaan?
That is a very interesting question. This is something which we have been answering right from the day when we started the human spaceflight program. We know that due to many reasons, a human race will be going out of Earth and then populating other planets. It will happen. Other efforts are going on all other places. It could be a resource getting depleted on Earth, or it could be adventurous journey, or it is getting new materials and other resources from other planets. So this human stepping out of Earth is not very far. You know that we have been in space for the last since 61. Even now, space stations are there, both ISS as well as Chinese space stations, both are man-tended. So then it is important that we also become part of that great journey. So that is where all these things started.
So essentially, if I were to summarize, whenever humans want to leave Earth and go out, India should not be left behind, and we should have independent access to sending Indians to space and also to have permanent presence wherever. Is that the big overarching objective?
Yeah, this is the baby step towards that. And when we have the technology, when we have the wherewithal to send humans and then bring them back safely, we have the technology with us, and then we can become partners or collaborators with other countries for taking up for more future ambitious projects too.
Now, in Gaganyaan, there are several different tests which will be done. Tell me a little bit about that test and what will it achieve and what will it show?
So the Gaganyaan program now moving from the design realization phase to test phase. In fact, we have been doing many tests on propulsion system, on parachute system, on subsystems we are getting tested. Now we go to a mission. That is, the first mission is demonstrating the crew escape system during flight. So we had done a pad abort test a few years back, but now the most important thing in Gaganyaan is the safety of the crew. So we should ensure that at any stage during ascent phase, if anything goes wrong with the vehicle, the safety of the crew is very important. For that, there is a crew safety or crew escape system, different stages. So this crew escape system, which is operating during the first stage of the vehicle when the S-200, two solid strap-ons are firing, so that has to work at different conditions. One is at launch pad. Secondly, during the ascent phase, like there are certain critical events like the transonic condition when the rocket speed is crossing from subsonic to supersonic, or a high dynamic pressure region. So there are identified zones at which if we activate the escape system, how the escape system is going to behave and what are the physiological levels experienced by the crew module. Of course, it is unmanned, but then we can measure and see. So the immediate test what we are going to do, we have a device that test vehicle which is derived from the strap-on, liquid strap-on of GSLV. It's a single stage vehicle, liquid stage. And then over the test vehicle, we fix the crew escape system. A crew escape system is basically an assemblage of quick acting solid motors, and inside that the crew module will be there, and the test vehicle will take the crew escape system to the required condition. Here we are going to do at a transonic condition, that is Mach numbers close to 1.2, and at that time the escape system will be activated, and the crew module will be taken away from the vehicle, and then you release the crew module, a parachute will be deployed, and then it will splash down, and then we collect it back. So basically it is demonstrating transonic condition, the in-flight demonstration of the crew escape system.
Essentially, like they say in all space flights or air flights, happy landings. So you are essentially preparing for a happy landing for the crew or the astronauts which will be there in the Gaganyaan mission. In case something goes wrong, how to bring them safely back. Is that the big move?
Yeah, in fighter aircrafts there are crew ejection systems are there. In case anything goes wrong with the vehicle, ejection system will be activated and they can come back in parachute. This is something similar. Here the seats are not ejected. We are ejecting the crew module as such, and then the entire thing is brought down in parachute.
Now, you will launch from Sriharikota, and where will the crew module land and how will you pick it up?
Yeah, we will be launching from the first launch pad of Sriharikota, and the vehicle will go to an altitude of around 12 kilometer, and at that condition, at 12 kilometer, it will achieve the transonic condition when the vehicle thrust will be terminated and the solid motors on the escape system will be activated, and that will take the crew module plus crew escape system to something like 17 kilometer, and then from 17 kilometer the crew module will be released from the escape system, and the crew module is it's designed in such a way that it can turn by itself, availing the aerodynamic force and get oriented towards the required direction. So it does that, and then we start deploying the parachute, and then it falls something like 10 kilometer from the launch pad, and then of course it has got a vehicle which is coming back, and the crew escape system also is coming back, crew module also is coming back. All these things will fall into sea at sufficient distance from each other.
Now, we have a model of the crew module right here. Now, what is our plan? How many astronauts can we send in a crew module which we have designed, for what duration and for what altitude flight? Assuming everything goes right, but the plan is for what duration?
Originally, our crew module is designed for 3 crew for nearly 5 days of mission, and the altitude is something like 400 kilometer. It's a circular orbit, and then after spending a few days in orbit, we will do the deorbiting, because crew module has got one more system below this, that is called the service module. The entire thing is orbiting module, and the service module has solar power panels. It has got propulsion system, so it does essentially servicing of the crew module and the crew during the orbital phase. So once the orbital phase is over, then we are in orbit with a required velocity. So unless you change the direction of the velocity vector by firing the propulsion system, you cannot come back. So that part, that deorbiting is done by the propulsion in service module. Once the deorbiting is done, the service module gets separated, and the crew module has got its own control system. It has got thrusters. It will control the attitude and then come back, and at appropriate altitudes, basically the more than 96, 97 or even 98% of the energy of the crew module will be killed by the aerodynamic deceleration by properly, because we are flying at a appropriate angle of attack, and see that the deceleration levels are not exceeding the human physiological limit, but at the same time the energy is being continuously killed. And then once you come to the terminal velocity type of the crew module, you have to deploy the additional aerodynamic surfaces like parachute, and with the parachute we will splash down, and then Once it is splashed down, parachute will be released by a pyro device. Otherwise, this parachute can still drag the crew module because of the wind, and then it will float, then it will be recovered.
Now, the design looks very similar to the Soyuz Russian design. Have we copied it? Have we bought it from Russia as technology transfer? Or has the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center and the Satish Dhawan Space Center and the scientists at ISRO developed this on their own?
This configuration is entirely our own. And you can see the evolution of Soyuz from Vostok to Soyuz. Initially it was a spherical one, gradually they were changing, and their angle also is not this much steep. And you can look at the Apollo, which has got a still larger angle because that was designed for re-entry from moon. So the crew module shape or its attributes are decided by many factors. One is how many crews, what is the duration, and then what is the type of space you provide for the crew. So there are many factors. So this has come out of basically from our requirements and then merging all the requirements and translating it into a configuration. In fact, we did study many configurations during the initial phase, and finally we have this is the shape that we have arrived at.
Now, let's shift a little bit to the rocket. The launch will happen on Launch Vehicle Mark III, which is it human rated now, and what is the state of the Launch Vehicle Mark III?
Okay,
we have a model right behind
LVM3 is here. It's a very simple vehicle, and now the most powerful vehicle, because simple in the sense it has got two strap-on, one L110 and cryo. So we are in orbit. Once the cryo is done the job, we are in space. Secondly, we need a rocket of LVM3 class for injecting the orbital module, which is weighing more than 8 tons. Third is, of course, the human rating is something which we had to understand and then start from scratch, and then it involves looking at the vehicle right from basic materials, manufacturing, also the way we are igniting the stage, margins, redundancy, reliability. So it's a holistic approach. You really look at the design of the vehicle and all the manufacturing process, and you evolve your own guidelines. Of course, the other guidelines like NASA guidelines are available, but we need to absorb it and then make our own plan. So that way we have a plan in place, and the human rating aspect has been completed, and in fact the propulsion systems have been tested by the Liquid Propulsion System Center, and avionics and other systems are getting realized. So it will be tested soon. So when we do the first unmanned flight somewhere in next year, all the systems get qualified, all the human rating aspects.
What is the state of the training of our astronauts? Because I believe 4 designated astronauts are already there.
Yeah, these 4 astronauts have been selected a couple of years back, and they have undergone different levels of training. In fact, the basic training they underwent at the Star City. After that, they are back, and this aspect is handled by the Human Spaceflight Center at Bangalore. And
the one which you headed.
Yeah, it was, initially I was heading it. Now we have set up a astronaut training facility there, and they are undergoing training. Different types of trainings will be there. There will be classroom training, there will be simulators, there will be virtual reality based training. So these activities are progressing now.
And we have 4 male astronauts, and are they all test pilots?
Yeah, they are basically test pilots.
And these are all male. Right now we don't have a lady in the loop.
Yeah, probably when ladies test pilots come, probably we will see that. Right now we don't have.
Sure, because most people who do first flights always have test pilots, and right now India does not have female test pilots. As and when I'm told they are available, they would be inducted into the corps as the Indian Air Force and ISRO take it forward. Are the crew astronauts doing well?
Yeah, they are doing well.
Are they well trained and healthy and fine, ready to take on the mission?
Yeah, they must be. They are, have that background, and their brain as well as body, everything is healthy, and they are undergoing training.
So well selected.
Sure. In future.
Now, can you describe in a couple of minutes what would be the mission when we have humans in the loop? You have trained astronauts reaching Sriharikota, and how do they get into the launch vehicle? What happens next, and then what happens in orbit, and then deorbit and bring that? If you can explain in your words, that'd be nice.
No, these things are getting evolved and addressed, but then a few days before the launch, they have to be there in the launch center, and they will be having their own place where to stay. Must be an isolated place because they have to be protected from biological germs and other things. They should not get cold or fever. That much precaution should be there, and then they will be having their own medical checkups periodically and all. Or these are all getting worked out, and then they have to go on the day of launch, maybe 1 or 1.5 hours before the launch. Get into that timing also. It is
Sure, this evolving.
it is getting evolved, and they get in, and once it is closed, and then they take the position. Then the vehicle is ready for takeoff, and then the escape system will be activated at suitable time so that anything goes. They don't have time to open all the door and come out. So in that case, that is the situation of pad abort. I said anything goes wrong, because we always prepare for the worst. Ideally, everything should go nominally, and then they go to space, and then when you reach space, you feel this weightlessness, or that is the first thing. And then they are assigned with some task. They will finish the task, and then get ready for deorbiting, and then come back and splash down. So in a nominal case, everything is as we are planning. And in case of contingency, there are contingency plans, and then accordingly that also will be addressed.
And we are looking for a splashdown in the Arabian Sea, I believe.
Yeah, somewhere near the
East, near the west coast.
Yeah, Shar, that coast.
Oh, you are looking in Bay of Bengal. Bay of Bengal splashdown.
Again, it depends. We can have primary, we can have secondary. So the primary could be Bay of Bengal. Even we can come to, in case we find that the sea is slightly rough there, we can always plan from orbit to come to the other side. There will be multiple.
Sure. Now, how will Gaganyaan in a way benefit the larger country? Will it? Chandrayaan has ignited the minds of people. Chandrayaan 3 unified India like never before. That's what I have said. In Gaganyaan, what could be the outcomes and benefits for the country?
No, Gaganyaan also will have multiplier effects in terms of science, in terms of technology, in terms of exciting. There is no doubt, that during the Apollo time, the maximum support or the viewership or the enthusiasm of people, they were all watching that man landing on moon. So that part, apart from that, there are other benefits which are short term, there are long term benefits, and as I was telling, this is something which we have been discussing, many things like bioastronautics we can talk about. That is, what happens to the body when they are in weightlessness condition, and then there again it is short term, it could be long term, and if you want to sustain long term in weightlessness condition, you should know how to survive in short term condition, and then that condition, how you deal with the collection of liquid as well as solid waste, and how do you manage it, how you take care of food, and then how do you take care of your the psychological aspects, because you are away from your dear and near ones, and always
an enclosed space like this.
Yeah,
so
there is
small.
a claustrophobia, whatever it is. So it's it's adding a lot of data into our science and technology, and again another stream. Like it's really an inflection point when you say that human space flight, it brings it develops many other associated areas like life support system, flight suit, and bioastronautics. There will be MTN studies, so many biological payloads. So it's going to open up another area. It will be very exciting to not only to students, to the entire country and their.
And how many countries have done independent access to space till now? And what would be if we succeed when Gaganyaan sends a human and brings a human back, an Indian back? What would be our number?
The first was Russians, that then Soviet Union, Yuri Gagarin, you know that. Followed by the Americans, they went to moon in 1969. They not only once, they went 6 times. And
12 of them walked there on the moon.
12 of them walked and 6 of them were orbiting the moon. Then, the Chinese in 2000, they started their manned program. So these are the 3 countries wise. But then others have got, like Japanese or even Indians, our own Rakesh Sharma, they have gone through other vehicles like space shuttle, like Kalpana Chawla or Sunita Williams and Soyuz. So even Europeans, they have all gone through either Soyuz or space shuttle. So we become the 4th country.
Very exciting. As the person who has been spearheading the human space flight, are you apprehensive? Because sending humans is a tough job and you have to succeed in the first go. So are you apprehensive? Are you worried? Are you tense? Normally not an ISRO trait, but humans are going to be in the loop for the first time. So Dr. Unnikrishnan Nair, are you tense?
I'm not tense because we need to do our homework properly. And if you do everything should, happen the way we want it. But obviously it will be exciting. It will be exciting because human is there and they are going up, coming back. There will be associated definitely that what you call skipping of heartbeat, etc., will be there. So that is there for every mission. But this will be definitely there. But when we do it the way it has to be, it will be successful and we will succeed. That is our wish.
Thanks a lot for speaking to me, Dr. Unnikrishnan Nair. And I wish you all the luck and success for Gaganyaan in New Delhi, Pallav Bagla.